January 14th would be the next date at 235 Church Street.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Your brother's gonna die out in the fish.
He stabbed a young mother 9 times while her 3-year-old child was right there watching. When he was done, he picked up the phone and called 911 like he was reporting a broken pipe. She'd moved into that apartment just 8 days earlier, trying to start fresh. And now she's bleeding out on the floor while her baby watches. When officers arrived, he locked himself inside with the child and barricaded the door. They had to break a window to get that kid out. And when they did, he fought every single one of them. But what he did inside that courtroom days later is what made the entire community lose it. To understand why that courtroom erupted, we need to go back to December 22nd, 2025. Stay with me. December 22nd, 2025. Destiny Rumley pulled up to 32 Old Foxon Road in East Haven, Connecticut, with her 3-year-old son in the back seat and boxes stacked in the trunk. 21 years old, new apartment, new neighborhood, the kind of move people make when they're trying to hit reset on something that wasn't working. The Foxon Woods complex wasn't fancy, but it was hers, and for a young mother trying to build something stable for her kid, that mattered. Her boyfriend, Tyreek Black, also 21, was already there. They'd been together for a while, long enough that moving in together felt like the next step, but the kind of relationship where people on the outside didn't ask too many questions. Things between them had their moments, the kind of tension that friends and family might have noticed but didn't press on because everybody's got their issues, right? Destiny didn't talk much about what was going on behind closed doors. She focused on her son, on making sure he had what he needed, on trying to make this fresh start work. 8 days. That's all she got in that apartment. 8 days of unpacked boxes, of figuring out where things went, of trying to settle into a routine. By December 30th, that fresh start would become a crime scene. Before we go further, if you care about stories like Destiny's being told, if you think her name deserves to be remembered, subscribe to the channel right now. That's it. No one else is going to tell these stories the way they need to be told. Let's continue.
Police say neighbors at Foxon Woods Apartments called 911 shortly before 8 this morning, and when officers arrived, they found a man in the hallway covered in blood, with a knife nearby. The man, identified as 21-year-old Tyreek Black, was arrested inside an apartment. There, police found a woman who was stabbed multiple times. While this was happening, police say other officers went to the back of the apartment building and rescued a toddler.
December 30th, 8:10 in the morning. The East Haven Police Department's dispatch line starts lighting up with calls from the same address, 32 Old Foxon Road. People reporting a man attacking a woman in the hallway of the apartment building. Voices panicked, some of them shouting over the noise in the background. Officers are already rolling when another call comes through, and this one's different. A male voice, calm in a way that doesn't match what he's saying. "I stabbed my expletive." It's Tyreek Black. He's calling from inside the apartment, and he's not asking for help. He's just stating it, like he's reporting what he had for breakfast. Dispatch keeps him on the line while patrol units floor it toward Foxon Woods. Lights flashing, trying to get there before this gets worse than it already is. When officers pull up to the complex, they see him standing in the doorway of the apartment, just standing there, and on the floor of the hallway near him is a large kitchen knife. Blood on the blade. Blood on his hands. They start shouting commands, telling him to step outside, to keep his hands where they can see them. But Tyreek doesn't comply. He looks at them for a second, then steps backward into the apartment and slams the door shut. The lock clicks. Now officers are pounding on that door, yelling for him to open it, trying to figure out what they're walking into, because Tyreek just locked himself inside the scene of a stabbing, and they have no idea what condition Destiny is in, or if she's even still alive. They don't know if he's armed with another weapon. They don't know what his next move is. But what officers didn't know yet was who else was trapped inside with him. The officers outside that door hear something that changes everything. A child crying. Not just any child, Destiny's 3-year-old son, and he's inside that locked apartment with a man who just confessed to stabbing someone. The pounding gets louder, more desperate, officers demanding Tyreek open the door, but he's not responding, and every second that ticks by is another second that kid is in there with him. They make the call. Break the window. One of the officers moves to the side of the building, finds a window, and smashes through it. Glass shatters and they reach inside, pulling that little boy out into the arms of another officer. He's physically unharmed, but his eyes tell a different story. The kind of thing a 3-year-old should never have to see, let alone carry with them for the rest of their life. Pause for a second. If you were those officers, knowing a child was inside with someone who just admitted to stabbing someone, what would you have done? Drop your thoughts below.
Another set of officers went around back to a window, smashed the window out, and luckily saved a young child, pulled him out through the broken window, and brought him to safety.
With the child safe, the door finally unlocks. Tyreek opens it himself, and officers flood in, but he doesn't surrender quietly. He fights them, swinging, resisting, forcing multiple officers to wrestle him to the ground and get him in cuffs. It takes all of them to restrain him, and the whole time he's fighting, they still don't know where Destiny is or what condition she's in. Then they see her. She's on the floor near the back of the apartment, with multiple stab wounds across her body, blood pooling around her. The medics from East Haven Fire Department rush in, working fast, trying to stabilize her enough to move. She's still breathing, barely, and they load her onto a stretcher and race her to Yale New Haven Hospital, sirens blaring the entire way. But the extent of what he'd done wouldn't be clear until doctors counted the wounds. The hospital report comes back, and it's worse than anyone at the scene realized. 9 stab wounds. Not 1 or 2 in a moment of panic, not a single strike that went wrong. 9. Deep, targeted, the kind of injuries that take time to inflict, that require someone to keep going even after the first blow, after the second, after the person on the receiving end is already down and defenseless. Destiny Rumley didn't survive. She was pronounced dead at Yale New Haven Hospital, and just like that, a 21-year-old mother was gone. Her 3-year-old son left without the one person who was supposed to protect him. Court documents filed later would reveal what triggered it, and it's the kind of detail that makes your blood run cold. Destiny told Tyreek she was going to call the police. That's it. That's what set him off. She didn't attack him, didn't threaten him with a weapon, didn't do anything except say she was going to hold him accountable for whatever was happening between them. And his response was to stab her 9 times. This wasn't self-defense. This wasn't an accident. This was a man who heard the word police and decided violence was his answer, and it didn't stop there. Prosecutors would later charge him with interfering with an emergency call during the attack, meaning he tried to stop her from getting help while he was hurting her. Then, after officers arrived, he barricaded that door with her child inside, exposing a 3-year-old to a scene no adult should witness, let alone a baby. There were no prior restraining orders between them, no history of police calls to that address. This was the first time authorities even knew Destiny Rumley and Tyreek Black existed as a couple, and by the time they did, it was too late. 24 hours later, he'd face a courtroom. Please wish this beautiful soul rest in peace in the comment section. Drop RIP for Destiny. Thank you. December 31st, 2025. State Superior Court in New Haven. Judge Patrick Clifford presiding. Tyreek Black is brought into the courtroom in shackles, and the gallery is packed with Destiny's family, friends, people who loved her, and are now forced to sit in the same room as the man who took her away. The charges are read aloud, one after another. Murder, risk of injury to a minor, assault on emergency personnel, interfering with police, interfering with an emergency call. Each one lands like a hammer, and with each charge, the tension in that room tightens. The prosecutor stands and argues for a bond increase, citing the brutality of the allegations, the fact that this man stabbed a young mother 9 times while her child watched, then fought the officers who came to save that child. Judge Clifford listens, and when he speaks, he raises the bond from $2 million to $2.5 million. Tyreek winces. He collapses backward into the arms of the marshals. As they start to lead him out of the courtroom, that's when everything explodes. Family members in the gallery erupt, screaming expletives at him, lunging toward the front, trying to get past the barrier. Marshals form a wall, holding them back, while New Haven police rush in from the side doors to restore order. It's chaos, people shouting, crying, officers struggling to contain the rage, and through it all, Tyreek is being dragged toward the exit as the screaming echoes off the walls.
Of State versus Tyreek Nelson Black, appointed public defender.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the public defender is appointed. Bail Commissioner's recommendation.
Your Honor.
I will indicate, first of all, it's an on-site arrest. I did read through the report, and I will clearly make a finding of probable cause for the crimes, including the crime of murder. Go ahead.
Your Honor, he has no criminal history. He is 21 years old. He is a lifelong resident. He reports that he is gainfully employed. He does report substance abuse and mental health issues. I do understand that he has no record. However, due to the nature of allegations, we will be recommending $1 million.
How much?
$1 million.
Thank you. State?
Your Honor, in this incident, the defendant is charged with murder. The defendant called police, said that he had stabbed the victim. He further said that it was a couple of times. When an officer arrived, he refused to open the door and threatened the officers that he would stab them if they entered. There was a 3-year-old child present for this incident. The defendant fought with officers, and the victim suffered 9 deep puncture wounds. He only state police said the bond should remain $2 million.
Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. As stated by Bill, Mr. Black is 21 years old, grew up in Hamden, Connecticut. He's been a native of our state his entire life. He attended school, graduated from ACES, and as stated, he has no criminal record. Your Honor, Mr. Black is truly a product of his environment, his upbringing. His background consists mostly of depending on state benefits, grew up in foster care, multiple ineffective DCF involvements. Lack of guidance and support led Mr. Black down the trail of mental health issues. He has multiple diagnoses, including PTSD, multiple stays at inpatient services, outpatient services, and many prior suicide attempts. Even though through all this turmoil in his life, he was trying. Prior to this incident, he was working part-time in Wallingford as a flagger. He had recently completed programs of treatment and was doing well. Mr. Black is also extremely remorseful for this incident. We ask that you take that into consideration when setting a bond for Mr. Black.
Well, he is 21 years of age. I guess he does not have any previous record. Is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
I mean, obviously, I read through the report. It is, I know he's emotional right now, but it's a very disturbing report to read when people are calling the police, indicating someone is screaming and asking or requesting help, and then he called actually the police and indicated, quote, "I just stabbed my bitch," close quote. The police were able to get the child, I guess, out through a window, the 3-year-old. He finally let the police in, according to the report. And I believe the defendant, even down at the station, did not disagree. She was calling the police because he had made an oral threat. And as a result of her attempting to call the police is when he admits that he took out a knife and he did stab her. It does indicate, as the state said, that it looks like there were a number of numerous wounds on the victim. The victim was alive when the police were there, but obviously she succumbed to these injuries. Also sounds like they had a prior relationship some time ago, and there was some attempt over the last few weeks, according to the defendant, to rekindle it. It certainly calls for a serious bond, a domestic homicide of someone. I'll set the bond at $2.5 million at this particular time. It's going to be transferred over to Part A. After the serious cases go through 35 Church Street, I'm going to transfer it over there for January 14th. The bond is set without prejudice. Certainly, if you're going to get a public defender over there, they would have the right to argue the bond again over there. But January 14th would be the next date at 235 Church Street.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Yeah, your brother's gonna die out in the field.
But even in that moment of rage, her family knew something we all have to accept. Angel Hubbard, Destiny's cousin, spoke outside the courthouse, her voice breaking. "You brutally stabbed her. What justice can we get? Even if he got life, what justice can we really get? We can't get our loved one back." Another cousin, Alexis Dingle, added just 3 words that say everything. Domestic violence is real.
This is an realistic reality for us in 2025. For our loved one not to be taken away in such a demeanor through domestic violence. You screamed for help, her child was there. Now we have to end 2025 in mourning and grieving instead of celebrating 2026. So this is beyond heartbreaking. We have no words. It's just another chapter of mourning that we can't keep taking.
Was there a history of trouble between the two of them?
We don't know him. We don't even really know him. This is a shock to the family. Like, who is this character? Because you can't even call him a person. For someone of this horrendous act, you're not even a person. So it's a character. You're a made-up person.
And the fact that that little child was there?
We have no words on that. Now that he has to grow up with no mom. An absent mom, now that she's his guardian angel, we have no words to describe how we feel.
And what would be justice?
Life
Yeah. In prison, the electric chair.
Besides life.
to feel what she felt.
Right.
For him to suffer.
Brutally attacked.
For you to stab her
brutally
9 times.
Stabbed her.
9 times.
What justice can we get? Even if he got life, no, seriously, what justice can we really get? We can't get our loved one back.
And that's what you want.
We would love to have her back. We would trade places. Don't ever love somebody that much that you have to take their life to show that you love them. You that anger. You have that much anger inside of you. Don't ever love somebody that much. Kill yourself. Don't kill us. Why we gotta suffer? What did we do as a family to you that we now have to take this every day?
What did she do as a...
Like what? There's nothing that he can give as a reason for this. As a reason why now her mother tears gotta water the cemetery ground.
East Haven Mayor Joseph Carfora released a statement calling it a sad and unnecessary loss for our community, extending thoughts to Destiny's family, and especially her young child affected by this act. The East Haven Police Department offered condolences to Destiny's family, friends, and her son, promising to work toward justice. That little boy, 3 years old, is now without a mother. He'll grow up with fragments of memories, maybe a few photos, Stories told by family members who'll try to keep her alive in his mind. But he'll never hear her voice again, never feel her hold him when he's scared, never have her there for any of the moments that matter. Tyreek Black had no criminal record before this. He had recent work history, the kind of background that on paper looks completely normal. But none of that matters when you stab someone 9 times. None of it matters when a child watches his mother die. Domestic violence doesn't announce itself with warning labels. There were no prior police calls to that address, no restraining orders filed, no paper trail that said, "This is dangerous." Just 2 people in a relationship, and then one morning, a decision was made to silence someone with violence instead of letting them speak. Destiny Rumley was 21 years old. She had a 3-year-old son who needed her for everything a child needs their mother for, and she was trying to hold someone accountable. That's all. She said she was going to call the police, and it cost her everything. That courtroom erupted because her family understood something the rest of us need to accept. No sentence, no conviction, no amount of time behind bars brings her back. Justice in cases like this isn't about making things right, because nothing can make this right. It's about saying her name, making sure people know what happened, and maybe, just maybe, someone watching this recognizes the warning signs in their own life before it's too late. If this story made you think about someone you know who might be in danger right now, tell them to speak up, share this story, spread the awareness. But that's not all. There's another video on your screen right now that'll hit just as hard. Click on that video and watch it. Don't scroll past it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because these stories don't tell themselves, and the people we lose in them deserve more than silence.
Robbery.
Yeah, other charge is murder.
Murder?
Yep. You're being charged with murder.